what KPIs do you really suggest that law firms focus on when they're evaluating the success of a new tech tool? Audrey, I heard you say this used to take you 12 steps or 12 hours and now it takes you 4. Are there any other KPIs that we should be looking at, or maybe ones that are even overlooked that you would suggest that the audience focuses on?
Oh, absolutely. I think across the board, you don't want to lose money. You don't want to lose money on the cases that you're doing for clients. And a lot of times we don't do that intentional. How many steps does it take? How many hours does it take to actually turn out an amazing product for our clients? So as we're focusing on that, that's a huge KPI. You also want to look at staff performance on KPIs, making sure you're tracking what are they spending their time on. Do we have a 75% billable employee? And I know not everyone is billable. We have flat fee, we have contingency fee, but 75% of an 8-hour workday being focused on work. What does that look like? We want to have an aging report KPI to make sure that everything is timely handled. So do we have those cases that really can't move forward this month or in the next 30 days? Or are we looking at 90 days? So how do we have that actionable piece? We're looking at KPIs for marketing. So if you are marketing for your specific legal service for your practice area, and again, we have marketing here at Practice Ready too. And when we're building those marketing plans for firms, you are an attorney, you have your practice areas, your legal services, and all of your marketing needs to drive to those legal services you can be hired for. That's another KPI you have to have there. And so we need to make sure all of that really is in your hub of operations, which becomes my case, which becomes your law pay for getting your invoices handled, getting paid on time. So we need to build in what matters most for you for KPIs and make sure the software can deliver for you.
I just love everything that you just said. Everything that you just said really is just like, it gets me up in the morning. I just absolutely love it. Let me just say also that I'm entirely sensitive to the 39 or 36 people listening to this, and that they may be like, what? It's like drinking from the fire hose or eating the elephant one bite at a time, right? Like, can feel daunting. But let me assure anybody who's listening that if you just do one thing better, you are that much better, right? So you know what I mean? So if you just start checking off the box, where is the pain in your firm, and solve that pain, and you are then that much better. And then you start building the habits and the culture in the firm to do this consistently. And then all of a sudden the flywheel starts spinning. And then all of a sudden the culture is there, and then everybody starts pushing in the same direction. And all of a sudden, you're not fielding these ridiculous phone calls from your clients, not knowing what's going on, because they can look at the status in the client portal. Or you're not chasing money because you have a billing portal that sends them late past due reminders and retainer refillment notices. You know what I mean? It's very exciting to see the tools that we have today. And that's what I get so jazzed about. So Audrey, and you're talking all of it.
There's a question here. What is KPI? KPI is key performance indicator. So that's basically, it's quantify your indications of progress. So it's kind of whatever you make it.
It's a number it's a number that represents a thing or a body of work or a performance of work, right?
Yep.
A client billable percentage, right? Or Audrey, speak to that, a client billable hour goal, right? And an attorney or an associate attorney should be billing client billable percentage what per week, 100 or
100, 160. It depends on what you want. On a 40-hour work week, I'm thrilled if I get 32 hours from my legal support staff at my firm.
And that's a KPI that you set as your business.
Yeah.
Great answers.
And anybody who wants to reach out to me about KPIs, I know they're so confusing. I'm more than happy to talk to you.
Well, trying to derive them and automate them is the hardest part, but the concept everybody should get, right? The associate attorney, you want to bill 100% of your work week, right? So that's a KPI, simple in concept, but getting the software to produce that KPI number so that your managerial process is just looking at Friday afternoon, how everybody did last week or whatever.
Another KPI could be how fast do you have a new lead that comes in, how quickly do you get back to that person?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's KPI.
Great example, Scott.
And very similar to ROI, so return on investment with your marketing. You're putting money into a Google ad spend. What is your return on investment there? That's something we track too, and we can track that in your software by the type of case you're hired for. Were they the ideal client? Those types of things that really make it unique to you.
Yeah. On that note, my colleague actually said it best in the chat here. Perhaps we need to do a separate webinar that's entirely on KPIs. It sounds like our panel has lots more to talk about when it comes to KPIs.